send some of them home early.
Well,
Some of it.
we do.
I'm gonna turn that
We
mic.
do have a very sorry.
Me this evening. My name is Angie Richards. Our chair, Kent Harfman, is gone. So as school board clerk, I will be your interim chair this evening. We do have a quorum. All board members, with the exception of Kent Harfman, are here. And as we begin this evening, there are comment cards in the back. If you'd like to address the school board, they're on the credence in the back. Please hand that to Carlin Burrington prior to the start of the public meeting section of tonight's agenda. And with that, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is behind us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board members, do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda? Thank you, Patrick. In a second. Thank you, Amy. Any discussion? All in favor of approval of tonight's agenda, state aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are on to communications, and we will start with commendations this evening.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening, board. My name is Trent Langham. I'm very proud to be back in April as the high school principal presenting the students of the month. These 4 students represent 1 student from each grade level chosen by staff after they collaborate. The criteria they consider are students who are responsible for themselves and others. They are positive role models. They help others in need, and they progress academically. 1 student per month per grade level, quite an honor. Please come down and receive your certificate and comment coin. We'll come down one at a time and stay up for a picture. Tallis Ashford, 9th grade. I didn't think I saw him yet. Okay. Sophomore Kayleen Patchke. Junior Victoria Vinsek. And senior, I know she's here, come on down, Lainey Bungham. I'll read a little biography about Lainey. KM Senior Student of the Month for April is Lainey Bungham, daughter of Aaron and Marlo Bungham of Kasson. Academically, she has maintained a perfect 4.0 grade point average over her high school career, which ranks first in her class of 169 students. While in the KM schools, Lainey has participated in soccer as a captain, band and pit orchestra for all the school musicals, student council, link crew, the Comet Pride Department, homecoming, prom, and post-prom planning committees, and the Minnesota Honor Society. And this past summer, she was a Kasson ambassador. Outside of school, Lainey enjoys reading, traveling, working out, cooking, and baking. She works part-time at Just Like Home school-age childcare on Main Street as a teacher's aide and absolutely loves it. One philosophy that has helped Lainey be successful in school is to never just go through the motions. If you're going to do something, you should always give it your best effort, even if you may not get the results you'd like. There's always more to gain from the journey, so push yourself to be better than you were yesterday. After graduation, Lainey plans on attending the University of Kansas, where she will major in exercise science and psychology and minor in nutrition. With this education, Lainey plans on attending graduate school to become a physical therapist or an orthopedic physician's assistant. Congratulations, Lainey Bungham and the KMHS Students of the Month.
Good, all right, we're gonna go. 1, 2, 3.
All right, good evening. I'm Brock Trinan, Activities Director at Kasson-Mantorville, and we have several awards that we're going to start out. First are the Fine Arts Awards, and I'm going to bring down Mr. Fowler and Mr. Bolt as they were the leaders of this group. Let's give them a hand first.
We have 6 students we would like to recognize this evening. The first 3 are All-Staters. They have completed basically a year-long process. Last year around this time, they were auditioning to get into All-State. Selected in May, a week-long camp. The band kids were at Concordia, the choir kids at St. John's. We'd like to recognize these 3. This is Greta Wright's second year as an All-Stater as well too, so we'd like to recognize that also. So Greta Wright for All-State Choir, she can come on down. We can give her a round of applause. Ethan Petersley on trombone for one of the All-State bands. And Mackenzie Holtz for All-State Clarinet.
It's also pretty rare for a kid to do All-State. You did band last year, right? And then to do choir the next. We've had that a couple times. I think, Jared Johnson back in the day, and the Claypool, Kyle Claypool, but that's also very rare to be so good in both disciplines. So that's another round of applause. And the American Choral Directors of Minnesota, they do a similar thing for younger vocalists as well. They do obviously the older one as well. We had 3 students make it into the ACDA 910 All-State this year. One is Ivan Schwartz, and then the other one is Shannon Todor, and then Kason Siegel couldn't make it here tonight, but they submitted auditions and then chosen from 1,000 applicants to represent our school on the big stage. So why don't you come down, Ivan and Shannon.
Thanks, guys, and congratulations, students. All right, our next award is for some qualifiers in our FCCLA. So Michelle Lindquist, come on down. She puts in a tremendous amount of work and support for these students that are going through these different categories, and the leadership roles that they take is pretty cool. And it's something that they can put on their resume, and they put a lot of time into, and she does too, because she's there all hours of the night. So let's give her a hand first. She really loves public speaking.
Yeah, I do. I did get permission to do something a little different from Carlin. So if Ethan, Emma, and Evie can come down here quick. These are 3 of the 4 state officers from Kasson-Mantorville this year. They worked extremely hard planning our first state conference that was back in person. So if you 3 want to come up, I know you have something to say.
Okay, so we'd like to thank Mr. Matuska for his continued support of FCCLA.
Thank you for your time and the time you spent preparing the workshop and presenting at the FCCLA State Conference. A lot of feedback from a lot of people said it was very engaging and taught strategies to be very successful.
We appreciate your flexibility and the support you allow us to grow in our leadership skills and also just your support in general.
Oh.
Yes, coming back out of COVID, just like everything else, FCCLA was on a limited budget, and we talked really nice to Mr. Matuska, and he volunteered to come up and spend his afternoon with students from around the state of Minnesota, so thank you. The other thank you probably goes to Mr. Larson and Mr. Trinan. We were approached last year to start a middle school FCCLA chapter. We did. We've kind of been off to a rough start, but it has gone well, and we have a number of middle school students that attended the state conference. Mrs. Welch is not able to be here tonight, but I know she's extremely proud of all of you. And I do have a couple of middle schoolers that I'd like to recognize. They did advance, they worked really, really hard on a STAR event on nutrition and wellness and advanced to nationals. So would Stella Powell, Taylor Narvison, and Oliver Powell come down? Also advancing to nationals, we had some of our senior high members. Kayleen and Lily did a simulated business plan and advanced, yes, you can come down, girls. They did a simulated business plan and advanced in their entrepreneurship STAR event. As well as Emma and Evie, they're already down here. They worked together and did another simulated business plan and advanced to nationals. Our next national advancing group they did hospitality and tourism and recreation, was Amberlyn Boyd and Kara Cordell. And our last group of Megan and Paige Future, you guys want to come down? They did, and I know Paige is going into architectural design. They did an interior design STAR event and advanced to nationals. So that was kind of cool. And we do have a couple of new state officers this year that took on a challenge of never having been to a live state conference. Kayleen was elected as the Vice President of Public Relations, and Amberlyn is the new Minnesota State Secretary for FCCLA. So that's exciting. And here's one for Mr. Larson. 2 of his middle schoolers were elected as area officers. So I'm not sure if Eleanor is here. She might have had a conflict. Oh, come on down, Eleanor. And then Eleanor Gore is the new Southeast Area Secretary, and Morgan Lean is the new Junior High Council Representative. And then we also have 3 students that were selected to serve on the Minnesota State Peer Education team, Delia Alberts, Madeline Gore, and Kayla Drepp. If you guys want to come down. Congratulations, girls. So, needless to say, we're excited about the new energy and all the excitement from the students and look forward to kind of rebuilding and getting things back to where we were before COVID. So, congratulations.
There we go. I got everybody. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Great job.
Next up, we have the Otternauts. Coach Chris Otterness, come on down. It's always a pleasure to watch this group in action.
100% student-led, so these guys are gonna do the talking too. So here's Tim Schultz. He actually doesn't have any parents. We built him. He's a cyborg.
So my name is Tim Schultz. I'm a senior this year. I've been a part of the robotics team since my freshman year. I've really enjoyed it every single year. It's been a great part of my high school experience. This year we had 30 active participants throughout the year. And of these 30, we had 9 people who made academic all-state. And then as a team, we got the silver award for academic all-state with an accumulative GPA of 3.65. This year was our best ever finish at a regional. We placed 5th place in the regional, yeah. At a state level, we placed 52 out of 190 teams, and we just barely missed the top 36 teams to make it to state for robotics. And if the rest of the team wants to come down, you guys can introduce yourself.
So I'm Scott Bartz. I'm a freshman, and yeah. What else am I supposed to say?
Hi, I'm Oliver Westfall. I'm also a freshman.
Charlie Converse, sophomore.
Ian Kuyat, sophomore.
Nora Ness, freshman.
I'm Hayden, and Hayden Shower, and I'm in 9th grade. I'm Ethan Brunner. I'm a sophomore. Kyle Thies, sophomore. Chase Myers, freshman. Duncan Olson, I'm a senior.
Charlie Lindstrom, freshman. Brady Deckard, sophomore.
Logan Brunner, freshman.
Ryan Hoy Howell, sophomore.
Abby Barnum, sophomore.
Ivan Schwartz, sophomore.
Isaac Ruska, sophomore. And you already know Tim. And joining me is the drive team, as I was one of the drivers along with Ryan, and Brady's the stand-in technician for Kai tonight, and Duncan is a human player. And then our coach, Mr. Otterness,
over there.
Okay.
So playing right here, if this is the qualification 50. This was our last match of day one, where we finished third in the day one. We were going up against the #1 ranked team, and we were the third. As you can see, we're in the red alliance over here. So we're the second station there, and we're gonna try to place a cone on the second node there. I think we missed it in this, but we started hitting it at the end, and then we balance on our charge station there, which then gets us 12 points during auton. So then this robot has a gyro in it, so then it can auto balance every time correctly. We haven't missed that ever. And then here we can see we're going to grab a cone and then bring that back to our community to score on the top node for 5 points. And then during these games, there's 3 teams on each alliance where they both try to score cubes and cones on top of nodes. And then at the end game, they'll balance on those charge stations in the middle. So here we're going, and we're gonna go pick up this cube on the right bottom side here. And this game was heavy defense between 2 teams. So in the middle, there was a lot of defense during the regional as well, because that was mostly how teams regulated other teams from scoring too much. So then here we're going to place a cube on that top box there. And then here we're going to go back over to our human player station where our handy human player Duncan loads us up with a cone. So then we can bring that back to our community. And then as you can see, the score is kind of going back and forth. There's blue scoring just as much as we are. And then our other ranked teams, one was from Milwaukee and the other I cannot remember where they were from. So then as you can see on the bottom, so the game was to make links. So a link is 3 game pieces in a row. You can see Blue Alliance has 3 links at the bottom, and we have 2 links completed right now. If you get 5 links, you get a rank point, which then helps you go higher in the tournament. So then as we get to 30 seconds here, this starts the end game period. So then we try to place our last game pieces, and as you can see, teams are trying to balance on top of that charge station. So here we're going for the triple balance, which is pretty hard to get. So the other 2 teams will line up on the outside, and then we'll thread the needle to finish off the triple balance in the middle. So then if you're not docked, you get 18 points between the 3 robots, and if you're docked, you get 30 points. So there's a lot to get balanced on there. And then as you can see, we won the match there, and then we advanced up to 3rd, placing us for the rest of the day.
Drivers behind the line. Begin the match in 3, 2, 1, go.
So lifting up with weight of the cone was one of the issues we faced this year. So to solve that problem, it worked in the regional, but those rubber bands are getting a little stretched out, so it's not working as well for the cone. But to help the arm raise, we put those rubber bands on the back. It just assists the shoulder motor of going up. So it's a lot of weight way out at the end of that arm to pick up that cube and cone. That was one of the design challenges we had this year. And another design challenge was balancing the robot's weight with all of that, with the arm fully extended with like a cone. And so we had to, at competition, bring a giant steel just cylinder, as it would weigh about like 10 pounds, to their machine shop and have holes drilled through it. So that way it would keep our robot balanced while we had cones and cubes with the arm extended. And I would like to thank everyone on the board for all your guys' support, and then all the support of our community members. We wouldn't be able to build that without your guys' support. So thank you.
Board members, any question for our auditors?
No, you guys all did a fabulous job. I love how, year after year and everything, you guys, it's a student-led group. It isn't led by adults and stuff. And you guys, you engineer, you design, you build, and then you problem solve along the way to figure out those solutions and stuff. And it's pretty amazing. So kudos to all of you guys. And it's kind of fun to see the corporate stickers and everything else you guys added on this site too. It's gonna be fun.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming and presenting to us tonight, and congratulations on an excellent season. If you were here for the Audernauts presentation or common accommodations, you're free to leave. However, we do invite you to stay and join us for the remainder of tonight's meeting. With that, we will move on to 3.3, our student school board representatives. Abby, thanks for joining us. Would you like to introduce?
And this is my sister, Sydney. She'll be with me today and then hopefully next year too. So, hello board members. It's great to see everyone. Here is our April board report.
As she said, I'm Sydney Schubert, and I'll be filling in for the rest of the year for Eric. And then I also hope to be on the board next year. And Abby Simons will be joining us soon as well. However, she had a softball game tonight, so she was unable to make it. So first is our sports and activities update. Spring sports are in full swing, and baseball has played 3 games so far, and softball has played 5 games, with their 6th being tonight in Northfield. Track hosted the Kasson-Mantorville Varsity Invitational on Friday, and the golf team played in their first meet of the season, the Stewartville Invitational, last week. This Wednesday, our Power Buff champions from Homecoming Week will be traveling to Byron to take on their champions at 7 p.m. And our KM speech team took 5th place as a team at sections, and they also had many finalists and state-bound participants.
On April 4th, our juniors took the ACT or the ASVAB in high school. The freshmen took their pre-ACT and the sophomores took the MCAs. Last week, all seniors had a meeting where we picked up our caps and gowns, getting ready for graduation, and we talked more about the senior trip to Whitewater and other end-of-the-year festivities. The biggest activity that many students and student council have been working on is prom on May 6th. The tickets go on sale today, actually, the 17th through the 21st. KM juniors and seniors tickets will cost $65, while underclassmen and students from other schools will cost $75. The Grand March will start at 5 p.m. on the 6th and will cost $3 a person. The dinner and dance will be hosted at Summerbee in Byron. Our dinner will consist of chicken breast with hunter sauce, tortellini with pesto cream sauce, Caesar salad, garlic breadsticks, and ice cream sundae bar for dessert. On April 14th, many students helped put on a burger fry to raise the last amount of money needed to put on the post-prom at Chip Shots. The post-prom will start at 11:30 on the 6th and conclude at 3:30 a.m. The theme is jungle and it costs $10 a person to attend. There's also free food and drinks. Students are continuing to work hard in their classes and extracurricular activities, and we hope that everyone has a great rest of their week. This concludes our April board report.
Excellent. Questions? Comments? You covered a lot in just a very short period of time. We have a lot going on at the high school, clearly at this time of year. So, well, kudos to you. How did that feel to pick up your cap and gown? A little surreal, perhaps?
It's surreal. It's bittersweet. So it's fun. We have a lot of stuff going on next month and should be good. So.
And will May be your last meeting with us? It will be. Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much for your report. Appreciate you being here tonight and giving us an update as to the high school. We'll continue moving on to 3.4, which is our elementary school PLC presentation.
Good evening and welcome, Good evening and thanks for having us. I am Ariana Wright, and I am still proud to be the elementary principal at Kasson-Mantorville Elementary. I just want to speak very briefly, and then I'm really going to turn it over to this whole team. But I just want to say that this, we have a really strong leadership team at the elementary, PLC leaders, and that goes even deeper into our entire staff. It's a really strong, robust team, but led by these amazing individuals. And as we are preparing for a leadership transition, this team is going to be very instrumental in ensuring that the foundation that we have, that the initiatives that we're working on, that the goals that we have all continue and are strong for our students. So I'm going to let them do the majority of the talking because they are amazing and ready for it.
All right, I'm Lisa Parrish. I'm the Teaching and Learning Coordinator at the elementary school. Jessica Marquardt, I'm the Literacy Specialist. I'm working with community ed through the middle school, but a lot of time at the elementary.
I'm Abby Badine, and I teach music, and so I'm the PLC leader for all of the specialists.
And Sarah Bailey, I am the special leader for the PLC leader for the special ed team.
I'm Michelle Pearson, and I am the PLC leader for the 4th grade team.
I'm Drew Pockert, and I'm the PLC leader for the 3rd grade team.
And I'm Alicia Moline, and I'm the PLC leader for our 1st grade team.
And we have worked really hard to create a video for you that kind of outlines all the amazing things that we have going on at the elementary school. We'll let you watch that, and then we're going to take some questions at the end.
Common Academy, or KA, is our targeted services intervention program at KMES for students who could benefit from an additional boost in the areas of reading, math, and social emotional learning. During the school year, students attend 2 days a week. This year, 103 students in grades 1 through 4 and 11 staff members participated. This fall marks our 14th year. Summer Common Academy runs mornings for 2 weeks in June and features engaging hands-on sessions that get students excited about learning through the summer. We have 114 comments enrolled and 12 staff members on board for summer. Recent grant awards have enabled us to enhance programming with instructional resources unique to KA. These complement our elementary reading curriculum. For summer session, we also have a specialized ELL class, STEAM special, and engaging field trip opportunities. We partner with the Kasson Public Library to bring story time to our students. Many students have been impacted by the extra time and efforts of our Common Academy staff. Like our students, we're always thinking of ways to learn and grow.
I'm Alicia Moline, and I teach first grade. One of the core components of our literacy instruction is a curriculum called Haggerty, which teaches phonemic awareness and phonics, two building blocks for early literacy. This is my first year using this curriculum, and I have greatly appreciated the instructional videos that show the lesson taught by an expert instructor. Of course, there are teacher manuals to use as well to lead the class in this simple yet robust daily practice. Hand signals are often used as well as a research-based progression of skills, building on each other for about 24 weeks. It has been very helpful and effective in giving our young learners the foundational skills they need to be amazing readers and writers.
Good. How many sounds do we hear in good? Good. D. Let's match a letter to each sound. Good. Two letters make one sound. D is our final sound. We can write and spell the word good by matching 4 letters to the 3 sounds that we hear.
Wild.
Our special education team has been excited to implement 2 new interventions this year. The first is the University of Florida Literacy Institute, or UFLI intervention program. This is a reading and literacy curriculum with a strong emphasis on phonics and phonemic awareness skills. Students typically learn through 3 30-minute sessions on a new skill. Lessons incorporate reading and writing words and sentences using blending boards on iPads to manipulate sounds and words. Lessons also include decodable passages for continued practice of newly taught skills. Each lesson includes a take-home assignment to reinforce these skills at home. Teachers using UFLI have really enjoyed using it and report kids are showing increased confidence in their reading skills. The special education team has also been using the Haggerty curriculum. This is a phonemic awareness program that supports what our general education teachers are doing in their classrooms. The program is easy to implement and the students are very engaged in the lessons. Haggerty focuses on skills such as phoneme isolation, blending, segmenting, and phoneme manipulation. This has been a great addition to our programs to support reading growth in our students.
Hello, I'm Michelle Pearson and I teach 4th grade. One of the new programs that we have implemented this year to support the literacy needs of our students is called Steps to Advance. This resource is designed to help readers practice and acquire the essential vocabulary and reading comprehension skills they need to succeed. This resource lends itself well to small group and whole group instruction. One of the aspects that we especially appreciate about it is that it integrates both science and social studies topics into literacy. It also includes weekly and unit assessments that show student understanding and help us to guide our instruction to meet the needs of all of our students.
At the elementary school, we continue to use Bridges as our math curriculum. Bridges is a very hands-on curriculum for math. Students are able to explore and learn various math concepts in a variety of different ways, including problem strengths, problems and investigations, and workplaces. During these learning opportunities, students are able to explore new concepts and collaborate with their peers about strategies they come up with or know to help solve these problems. As teachers, we get to spend time facilitating our students' learning through class discussions and forums where students are able to share their learning and strategies they have come up with to solve problems on their own. We are currently in the 4th year of using it at the 3rd and 4th grade levels and in the 2nd year of using it at the kindergarten through 2nd grade levels. New this year is that our interventionists are also using it as part of our math interventions with our students. We are excited to have this as part of our interventions as it shares a common language and helps supports learning in the classroom. We are excited to see the spring math data with the K through 4 and interventionalist implementation of this great curriculum.
Benchmark Phonics is a research-based, systematic approach to phonics instruction. There are 10 units, with each unit divided into 3 weeks, with 5 lessons per week. The students are given the opportunity to develop their decoding skills, phonological awareness, and sight word recognition. The My Word Study resource provides interesting and interactive texts for students to increase their vocabulary and background knowledge, as well as their comprehension skills. This booklet also allows students to look at each text for various words that are linked to that particular phonics skill being taught that week.
Hi, I'm Brandon Sartanik and I teach kindergarten. At the elementary school, we are grateful for our second step social emotional learning curriculum that Mrs. Besh teaches to all grade levels here. This program helps students build positive relationships, manage emotions, and teaches skills for learning and setting goals. We also have a new paraprofessional that is specializing in the social emotional development, which has allowed us to have more students with learning and growing in their social emotional development.
Standards-based reporting is a strategy many schools use to connect the state standards in each subject area with learning happening in the classroom. Using the standards-based reporting method, teachers would teach lessons that target specific standards, assess how students have mastered the standards, and reflect student progress in a report card using standards language. In the 2023-2024 school year, Kasson-Mantorville Elementary will be using standards-based reporting in all grade levels. This has already been in practice at the kindergarten level for years. Our teaching staff have been working during the 2022-2023 school year to develop standards-based report cards for every grade level along with assessments, and will be using the standards-based reporting method moving forward.
You may be wondering why we are focusing on the standards. The legislature of Minnesota adopts standards in every subject area. The adoption process involves a large committee with representatives from throughout the state and from various groups, from parents to teachers to administrators to community members. All voices are heard in the standards adoption process. These standards are what is measured when students take the MCA assessments each spring from 3rd grade to 11th grade in reading and math, and in some grade levels, science.
Teaching every standard one at a time in isolation would make it impossible for teachers and students to complete all their learning in a single school year. Teaching teams have worked in partnership with the Kasson-Mantorville Teaching and Learning Department to study the standards and combine them in a way to ensure that students are learning and mastering the essential skills and knowledge needed at each and every grade level.
Beginning in the 2023-2024 school year, you can expect the report card to look different with specific standards under each subject area that students are working to master. You may notice the report card change from the beginning of the year to the end of the year as students grow in their learning and are able to master more complex learning targets and standards. Teachers will use a 1, 2, 3, 4 scale rather than the does not meet, partially meets, and exceeds scale for report cards. This aligns with many other schools using standards-based reporting. There will be information available to families helping explain the report card. As with anything KMES, please reach out to your teacher if you have any questions.
All right, so we've worked really hard at the elementary school. It's been an amazing year of all kinds of learning coming together and everyone really working together to make it happen. I'm going to give everybody a chance to highlight one thing for you.
Thanks. Our team is so very, very grateful for that PLC time. Without it, we would not be able to dig into new standards, connect those to all the great new curriculum we have, and then be able to create meaningful assessing and reporting that helps us and parents and administration and coaches know what do kids know and where do they need to go.
My team as well has been very thankful for that time we've had PLC to be able to unpack and align those standards with our curriculum. And my reading colleagues as well have also been very excited about that Steps to Advance program that was highlighted in that video and being able to implement that with their students this year.
I think a highlight for the fourth grade team is very similar to both what Alicia and Drew said, just the time together to be able to plan. We've also done some work with third grade to vertically align the standards that are being taught in progression through K through 4, because it does shift when it gets to third and fourth grade. The focus and the literacy focus shifts. So we have been working to together and collaborating to make sure that that's making sense in the progression of their learning.
The special ed team has spent a lot of our time creating some different ways to track our data better as a team so we can better target our services and group kids and keep them moving along.
As specialists, that time has been so valuable in just working together to seek some solutions for just our biggest thing that we have in common, rather than having time to work on the standards-based grading thing. But our biggest thing as a specialist team that we have in common is students. So just seeking solutions for like how to meet all of the different students. That's been very valuable to us.
I've had a fantastic year getting to spend time with all of our teachers and our kids throughout the whole building. As you heard, literacy brought up a bunch of times in there. We've had a lot of new things that we've been implementing and working on. And that's where I've been spending my time, and it has been so much fun. So,
Do you have any questions for the PLC leaders tonight?
I have a question. Excellent video. That is phenomenal. And it's so fun to see the students interact in those lessons. It really brings a lot of meaning here. It's exciting that we're changing and evolving it. So the PME that are currently on the grades, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4, do those directly correlate? Like instead of the letter, it's the number then?
Yeah, so those will break down similar.
Sure.
So it's, again, proficiency, but it's more friendly in terms of breaking it down to the amount of skills and their progression for how they've learned. So if they start the year and they don't have a lot of background, they might be developing and not demonstrating that they have those skills securely, but it will continue to be measured throughout the school year. So the goal is at the end of the year, everyone is secure and there is consistent demonstration of the ability for whatever particular standard they're working on.
Perfect. So 3 is like the meets.
Correct.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Is that the overall design of the new reporting system, where it's to evolve from the beginning of the year to the end of the year?
Correct. So the standards that we get at the beginning of the year, the goal is that mastery at the end of the school year. So they work in a progression throughout the school year to try and get every student to be successful.
I think it was Brandis who mentioned in the video that social emotional paraprofessional was added to the elementary school. Maybe just share a little bit about the impact that that's had on students.
I don't know if anyone wants to speak to a particular circumstance, or Ariana, if you want to.
Yeah. So that position was added through ESSER funding. So it was one-time money. So it was an experiment. And we're currently gathering some data around what that experiment has done for our students. But what we have found through some of that, I don't want to quantify it before I quantify it, is that we have had students, individual students who have had push-in support with that individual that paraprofessional who are now much more independent and much more secure. And then we're able to move and adapt as different students have different needs throughout the year. We're also pushing in to the most high needs supervision areas. So a certain grade level may be struggling at recess. Now that is an additional paraprofessional that we're pushing out on the playground with some really strong skills. We have a very, not necessarily young, but very much newer paraprofessional team. Over the last few years, we've had a lot of new staff that we're onboarding as paraprofessionals. And so to have someone with confidence and skill and a mentorship ability to be out and supporting those newer teams has been really helpful as well. So we'll be gathering some more specific data around that, but our anecdotal data is that it's been very, very strong addition. That individual is supervised by our counseling and social work team. So they meet every morning to give the schedule for the day, who that person is connecting with, and the students in the highest need, those kinds of things.
I just want to thank you guys for coming tonight. What additional items or curriculum and things like that, or have you guys introduced this year? From the beginning, or pivoted, or?
So we really were pushing the last couple of years for more support in ELA. So through the ESSER grant, we also got some new resources. One of them that I was talked about was the Steps to Advance, but we also were using benchmark phonics intervention, and we're using that during our flex time. So we have scheduled 2 flex times in AM and PM. And so kids we're working to build up the gaps that have increased in the last few years, honestly, with especially phonemic awareness. So we have right now the benchmark intervention, and we're looking at adapting that into our benchmark phonics as a core program, which the primary grades are already using. And then the Steps to Advance, we are using mostly in small group within 4th grade. And again, that's targeted more towards vocabulary and comprehension skills, because that's where the bridge kind of leads as they are now building up on those phonemic skills. And that lends itself so well because it has, within each unit, it has 3 weeks of instruction. And then within each week, the texts are scaffolded to meet the needs. So we have a handful of kids that are not reading at grade level. And so this text is divided into 3. It's a bridge text and an amplified text and a core text. And so what it does is the instruction leads those students that need more support. So it's really been very helpful to meet the needs of all the kids. And when you're meeting with them at 5 or 6 at a time, it helps to kind of really target into the skills. So those are the 2 that we've used in 3rd and 4th grade that have been really a great resource. And then also just our leadership with Jessica being in the reading specialist role, and Lisa, they're on call every time we have PLC. Hey, we need to talk about this. Hey, let's look at this. And so it's been very helpful resources.
Anything else?
Great. Is there, throughout, with focusing more on the phonemic awareness and stuff, now there's stuff that's essentially added or supplemented throughout the building or through each grade level now?
So we have phonemic awareness at our lower grades in some of those Haggerty videos, and then we move into the phonics program, which is in K1 and 2, and we have an intervention phonics program that essentially goes back to the year before and is aimed to fill any holes where kids might have missed and have gaps. And now they've just expanded that program to 3 and 4, so we're looking at moving that into our core for the phonics piece. I'm going to let Jessica tell you a little bit more about some of the letters work that she's doing too with teachers.
Yeah, so we've been paying a lot of attention. We knew that phonics and phonemic awareness were kind of our 2 big gaps in terms of our literacy curriculum resources. We have strong things in place for comprehension and vocabulary, and that phonics piece has been kind of a weaker spot for us. And so the benchmark phonics intervention and core program pieces have been really big help in helping shore that up a little bit and fill in those holes. Haggerty has been our phonemic awareness piece, looking at K2 and filling those pieces. Really that phonological awareness should be a K2 emphasis, because then we're moving past just hearing the sounds and working on the reading pieces. So that's why that's focused at K2. And then hitting those phonics skills hard beyond that. With letters, we have 5 classroom teachers right now that have been going through the Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling program for the last year. And then we've been doing some every other week offering training opportunities for our staff to pick up pieces of that, because it's 144 hours of training. And so we've been offering it in little 20-minute chunks to get it going and into our classrooms that way as well.
And with that additional, curriculum to fill the gaps and stuff, how do you guys feel like it's been going throughout the year, or,
It's super, if you walk into a K or 1 classroom right now, our little readers are reading every word. I mean, anytime they can find a spelling pattern in a word. I know some of our teachers have said, I can't get through a page right now when I read, because the kids are like, that's a bossy R, like freaking out. They recognize all these spelling patterns within their words. So I think anecdotally, again, it's looking good. We'll see. We're waiting.
So we have our FAST testing that targets that with our A reading and A math. We just started the MCAs today at the elementary school. That'll happen this week and next week. And then immediately following that, the first week in May, our 3rd and 4th grade teachers will start their FAST assessments. And the following week, it will be 1 and 2. And then kindergarten is unique in that all of their assessing is one-on-one teacher and student. And they have 4 separate tests that they take. So that takes a longer amount of time. They have kind of the whole month to get those complete. So we are anxious to get that information back.
So the MCAs you get to hear about in like August-ish, but FAST you get to hear about faster. And we do recognize, so this is our theme for the year, that we have a rainbow of possibilities. So we followed our theme. Of course, we always come with a theme. And in May, we will be inviting you to our School of Excellence celebration. And so we've been named a School of Excellence, and we do believe that all the work that we're doing all the time is what helps get us there. So very excited. That's our pot of gold this year.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to the entire team on the School of Excellence Award. We look forward to that invite. All right, we will continue moving forward here to 3.5, which is consider the approval for resolution of acceptance of gifts and grants this evening. I, Angie Richards, introduce the following resolution to accept $20,066.40 and move for its adoption. Grants, whereas the state of Minnesota has generously offered to donate $4,105 in grants for community education project beginnings, and whereas the state of Minnesota has generously offered to donate $10,661 to community education project kids. Gifts, whereas Quick Trip Cares Committee and Jenny Glondale have generously offered to donate $750 in gift cards to Comet Pantry for milk, eggs, and butter. Whereas Michael Soland has generously offered to donate $3,050 to STEM teachers for supplies. Whereas Ready, Set, Learn has generously offered to donate $100 to sponsor the community education 5K run, walk, stroll. And whereas IBEW Local 343 has generously offered to donate $400 to sponsor the KM Robotics Club. Whereas Byron Community Foundation has generously offered to donate $1,000 to the Comet Pantry for groceries and supplies. Is there a second? Thank you, Kate. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of approval of the resolution for acceptance of gifts and grants, state aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The 3.6 board committee reports. First report up is land and facilities. Brandon.
Thank you, Angie. Yeah, land and facilities did meet about back in March here, on March 22nd. Most of the meeting at that time and everything was spent going over the LTFM budget, in addition to the capital budget as well, and getting the board members up to speed. Looking ahead to 23-24, the preliminary facility projects from capital, looking at adding some motion sensors to all of our gymnasiums, and, including our fitness center. A lot of times to reduce the amount of time or the amount of time that the lights are on with no one in those spaces for some energy cost savings. Also looking at adding Kasson-Mantorville signage to the north side of the Performing Arts Center as well, to mimic the one here on the south side. This summer, we're going to be refurbishing the bleachers, some of the bleachers and stuff on the south side of KM Telecom Stadium. And then also we also discussed some stuff, the roundabout that will be going out on Highway 57 and 16th here on the corner of the high school. Construction is actually going to be starting really soon. We should be seeing road closure signs going up shortly. We did have a chance to attend the City Hall informational meeting, and that was great that the city put that on. The bike path and everything that's out in front of the high school will continue through that roundabout, and it will cross over Highway 57 and continue on to the dump road. Quick Trip will also be added to the other side of the Highway 57 as well. This is now going to be the first time that there's going to be pedestrian crossing going across Highway 57, or for a need of pedestrians across Highway 57. So really, it's going to be new for all local motorists and anybody else driving by, but I think ultimately we're just going to have to kind of watch and see how time evolves and what that eventually looks like. But I think that's pretty much it for LMF, unless there's anything else.
All right, any other questions for land and facilities? If not, we'll move on to personnel.
We already nominated the Cameron for advancement. You guys should see that up on the May. We talked about the meet and confer, and we have a meeting set up with Mr. Olson tomorrow. The personnel committee updated on that. We also agreed to, as a committee, to contribute to the year-end basket appreciation. So we left $20.
Any other questions for personnel?
Who's all attending meet and confer? Who's attending meet and confer?
Myself, Mr. Olson, and Carl.
We don't have the full personnel or other administrators attending.
I was approached by KMEM and Mr. Olson, and this year we're going to attempt to do that with one individual that's teaching in the district, and that's Mr. Olson, and then Mr. Torkelson as well. And we thought we'd see how that works this year to see if it's something we'll pursue in the future. So hopefully all of the meet and confer representatives in each building have had a chance to speak with their principal directly. And if they couldn't come to a conclusion there, that's when those come to the school board member. So Mark's taking it on this year.
Any other questions for personnel? finance. Brandon, do you want to speak to?
Yeah, regarding finance, the finance committee actually last met on March 23rd. It was a meeting with KMEM co-presidents, Mr. Wilkie and Mr. Robertson. And at that time and stuff, we were just discussing the MOU for the health insurance premiums moving forward. We haven't met since then, but we do have a meeting set up here this week on the 20th. And we'll be following that with our first negotiations meeting and stuff with KMEM and to discuss language items here on Friday. So, and then we have a tentative second meeting and stuff scheduled for next Tuesday as well. So, but I don't have anything else to talk about.
Sounds great. Negotiations off and running. All right. Any other questions for finance?
I noticed that there's the MOU on the agenda for this evening. Can you just speak a little bit about how, is that the same as what we had just done, except for this is for the retired, or can you speak to that a little bit?
So this is something that we've typically done the last maybe 15 years. It's a way for those that are retiring to be able to get their sick leave buyout paid so that it's not taxed. So,
Bob, about how many teachers are getting a sick leave buyout? Or still, because it's pre-89?
No, it's prior to 7/1/2008. So I think there's still about 50 on staff yet that are still eligible for that buyout. So.
Thank you. I was just wondering if it was.
All right, and it doesn't look like we've had meetings for policy, student activities, ed, or community education, legislative.
And we're rolling up there to the House, on the bill, cleared the House away from and headed for the House floor this week. The Senate on this bill cleared the Senate Tax Committee and is scheduled to be heard in the Senate Finance Committee on Wednesday. Both bills are 2.2 billion, just over 2.2 billion. The House is adopting the governor's 4%, 2%, and the Senate is at 4%, 5%.
All right, any other questions for legislative? There will be a lot to watch here in the coming weeks.
Well, I just am hoping someone can explain it to me. So whether it's one of you, Marks, just in the MSBA news clippings just today, they were talking about how many superintendents are saying that this, you know, we were really excited when we heard how much money there is, but actually they're under the impression that this could be more detrimental in the long run.
I think some of the concern is the fact that there's some unfunded mandates that have been discussed since the legislative session came out. And I know a lot of them have since gone away. As soon as they came up with their budget targets, a lot did. But there's still some out there. The unemployment insurance, I believe, is still alive. I still think there's some leave that could be there. Tomorrow morning we get the update from MREA. I don't know if the class size language is still alive in either of the omnibus bills, but that of course is one thing that I know there's some concern about, because if that class size gets too small, we don't know if there's enough teachers out there to hire. Well, the space concerns the other one, facility space, because we'd be back to about full at the elementary school. You know, we're down a few sections just because of some smaller class sizes at K and 1 and the small expectation for next year. But that's an issue for a lot of school districts. So I don't know what's going to come of it, but we'll know. I don't believe there will be a special session. They've been working really diligently to get this done. So I would expect by the 23rd we should have a pretty good idea of what the revenue's coming in and how many of those mandates are actually going to eat into that revenue that's coming.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for legislative? Okay. All right, we will move on to our administrative board reports, then 3.7. Before we jump into that, I guess I just wanted to say a thank you to the admin team for your board reports all year long. They've been fantastic, and sometimes we don't always ask a lot of questions or make a lot of comments, but I did want to let you know that your hard work does not go unnoticed by myself and by our board here as well. So thank you. I know they're time consuming to put together and to share out everything that's going on in each of your areas. With that, we'll open it up to board members for questions or comments.
I just wanted to say thank you to JJ for completing all the tasks we needed to be in compliance with the state fire marshal's orders. So thank you.
Lindsay, you know, you were talking about the National Cyber Cup. That's very exciting that there's so many young teams and everything else that were able to participate and how they scored and stuff. Does so it's a 3-day event, and but they were still able to at least participate in some of it, and then kind of use what they participated in to score.
The Cyber Cup sets the date, and the first day fell on the day of continuation and notes. So we didn't have students in district, but on day 2 and day 3, before or during their lunch, plugging away at some of those questions.
It's going to be very exciting to see kind of how this evolves here over time. Well, thank you for doing that. And Ashley too. Thank you. Ariana, you had mentioned about the behavioral data, and I was just wondering at this time and stuff, what sort of things have you seen within it, and some things that doing differently within the building, implementing at this time?
Yeah. So a great example would be on our kindergarten team. So we met with each team individually. When we met with kindergarten, we looked at both the behavior referrals coming to the office, which we call stop and think cards, as well as we track our caught showing comet pride, so our positive behavior as well. So on teams, we were looking to see if within a grade level, we want to see about 3 times as many positives as we see referrals. And consistently, we did see that in almost every grade level. And it's just a good kind of reminder for folks about where they fall and what we need to be doing a little bit differently. But in kindergarten, as we were digging into the data, one of the things that came out when we talked about the where and the what and how some of the behavior referrals, the morning recess became a targeted area. And so we set to problem solving around what can we do differently in morning recess, what additional kind of activities can we provide there, how can we teach that during their SMART class so that they are prepared to play out at recess in a way that is more organized and a little more structured. They need a little more structure. So those are the kinds of action steps that came out of those really focused team meetings. We had opened it up as well to, as we do with other data meetings, if there are individual students who are struggling, that we could talk about that as well. But in each of the grade levels, really those individual needs were being met or already had plans at least in place. So it was more of the kind of group-wide concerns that we focused on. It was great. So very individualized, which when you think about a kindergartner compared to a 4th grader, their needs are very different. So it was good to be able to dive in that.
I have a follow-up question to that, Ariana. I never had thought about it, but when you were talking about the numbers, is there a goal for each staff to give a comet pride? Or is it just as you see it, kind of, or is there kind of times of the year where you think it's more effective to be giving?
Yep. So I think teachers individually kind of sometimes set goals for themselves. So they may, sometimes teachers will write each of their students' names on a Kasson-Mantorville Comet Pride slip at the beginning of the year, just to ensure that at some point they're catching every child. Because we know all kids do great things, and so we want all kids to feel those positives. And then sometimes we recognize that there